in San Antonio for a couple of days. Heard a lot about Texas's great barbecue. We're out
100%.
for we're out for lunch. I asked the people that we're with that live here, "Hey, where's a good spot for some barbecue?" Throw it out there. Softball question, expecting plenty of responses. Their response was the place we had closed.
So
I was so confused.
San Antonio is going to be the exception, whereas Dallas is a lot more barbecue heavy. Houston, Austin, they're a lot more barbecue heavy. San Antonio is the one that's a little wild just because they have a lot more the Mexican influence. So they're not going to be as heavy barbecue city. But
Yeah, don't let
you
them
should
swindle you,
still,
Evan. Don't let them swindle
but
you.
you should still
Mexican
find some
barbecue.
good barbecue because that's a part of Texas culture. So you should still find some decent barbecue out there. You just gotta ask the right people. But it's not gonna be as big as Dallas, Houston, or Austin.
Nah, don't even bother, dude. It's swindled. You'll get swindled. Don't even worry about it.
No.
Don't even do it.
Listen, I've been there. I can vouch for barbecue in
Yeah,
Texas.
you were
man.
swindled. It's okay. We all
It's
get whatever.
heavenly manna. It's manna from heaven. Okay, they tuck in their cows at night. They read them bedtime stories. They're
That's
not
part of the
stressed
swindle. They do that on
before
purpose.
they
Get you.
before they get slaughtered. The meat is great. It's you know, yeah. But yeah, man. Yeah. But Korean
just- I just
barbecue,
found it-
swindle.
Hans likes his meat tucked in. Unbelievable.
Listen,
All right,
Listen,
fellas, let's get started,
like
y'all.
the-
Let's get
I like
started.
to cook for me. Okay,
Let's
I
get
don't like to
started.
cook my own meat.
Let's get started.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. I'm your guy Hans here with my main man Ev. What's going on, Ev? How you doing today, man?
If I were any better, there'd be a problem.
Listen, man, I see you back on track with it, man. See you back on track with it. As always, my other main man, Lou. What it do, Lou?
What's going on? You already know. Peace, love, and harmony, peoples.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as always, we have the Pod Mamba in the background, making sure we're on point to be the world's greatest basketball podcast. We're going to jump right into it, guys. I'm upset. I'm angry. And typically, when people get upset and angry, they become defensive. And I feel like I have to be defensive right now because I put myself out there. I put my state out there. Jersey, what's up? Jersey, stand up.
Yo.
And, I put it all on Kyrie's back. And he has let the great state of Jersey down. He has besmirched the name of Jersey, okay?
Sheesh.
The Garden State. He has people looking at us weird, okay? Questioning the motives of people from Jersey. So you know what I had to do? I had to get some quick facts real quick to remind people what the great state of Jersey is all about. So bear with me real quick. Listen, man, Ev, you're going to love this. Okay. You know where the first professional baseball game was played? Jersey, stand up, right? That's America's pastime. Where did it start? Jersey, okay? Don't you forget it. You're welcome, America, all right? Don't you forget that. Also, another one of America's great pastimes and favorite board games, Monopoly. You know the names of those streets? You know where they come from? Atlantic City, Jersey. You're welcome, America. That's all I'm saying, baby. Jersey's in the building. I got to remind people, man, they don't remember. They don't remember. Also, we were talking about beautiful ladies in the OT segment. You know where the first Miss America pageant was ever held? Inaugurated? Jersey. Okay, listen, man, I'm just saying, I can go all day here, man. You're welcome, America, okay? And also, let's not forget, let's be honest, we gave y'all Miss Lauryn Hill, who Apple rated her album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, to be the #1 album in history. Stand Up Jersey, the late great
Already
Whitney
know.
Houston, arguably one
Hello.
of the best singers to grace the earth. Shout out to Whitney. Shout out to Jers. We gave you Shaquille O'Neal, arguably the most dominant big man in NBA history. You're welcome, NBA. I'm just saying, man, the Queen Latifah, stop playing with us, man. You want to go back? Ice-T? Come on, man. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And last but not least, the first professional basketball game ever played was in Jersey, Trenton versus Brooklyn. Okay? So all y'all here with the Jersey slander, I'm going to get on the preemptive strike and get out there. Jersey's still in the building despite Kyrie's shortcomings and not showing up. Jersey's still in the building. Don't F with Jersey, okay? It's dirty Jersey all day. If you got anything else to say, come fight me. That's all I got to say right now. That's all I had to do. I had to remind people. I put myself out there on wax, telling Jersey to stand up. We still standing even though Kyrie's falling. All right? We still standing. We still standing. All right.
Hey, yo.
We'll jump into it. I just had to get that off my chest real quick. I had to pull my Stephen A. Smith out real quick, man. I had to get that off my chest real quick. You know
I thought you was going to hit with UNITY with Queen Latifah.
Hey, UNITY. Listen. You're looking at no Jersey posters in my background, baby. Listen, man. Jersey stand up, man. Jersey stand up. But since we're talking about it, I broached the subject. I know it's a little divergent from our initial setup. Let's dive into it, Ev. What do you take? I know you're the one who called it on the last episode and said that Kyrie is going to be hampered or maybe hampered by the great Drew Holiday and the Celtics defense. What else have you seen? Is this your prophetic message coming to light? Or did the Celtics devise another game plan that you didn't yet see coming?
I'm so impressed by that Jersey soliloquy, fact check, monologue, manifesto that I've also been inspired to add a few lines, a few bars, a few insightful tidbits. And I have some questions to what you just laid out. Trenton versus Brooklyn. Do you know what the score of that game was?
I don't. I can look it up though. Because, I'm mixed because, I was in Brooklyn first, in Jersey. So it's like, but, I'm interested.
Couple more. Oh, yeah, I am, man. Couple more questions just for clarity's sake. When you said Ice-T, were you talking the drink or the rapper?
The rapper, sir. He's from Jersey.
Okay. No, just making sure. I didn't know. This is news to me.
Ice-T's a Southern thing.
Sweet tea's.
I wouldn't take that away from you guys, man. Listen, man.
Okay. So you mentioned Lauryn Hill from Jersey.
Great Lauryn Hill. Yeah.
After her beginnings, rose up to have a celebrated album, celebrated performance. This is one of the greatest performances of all time. And it's been missing ever since. All right, so let's go on this Jersey route here, right? So you mentioned Kyrie.
This guy.
Let's talk about a Jersey athlete maligned for years, had a tremendous series, celebrated for their performance, and then the next series went missing. No, I'm not talking about Kyrie yet. I'm talking about Karl Anthony Towns. We're keeping on the Jersey here.
Wow.
Now we'll talk about Kyrie. I'm sorry.
All
of this fits. All of this is connected. I'm with you. I was trying to take Jersey as far as I possibly can.
Listen, you don't need to because Jersey did it, baby. Jersey did it, all right? Jersey did it. We're already here, baby. Already here. America's great Jersey. Did you know that Jersey had the most battles in the Revolutionary War than any other place? You're welcome, America. That's it. I'm done, man. Keep going, man. Go ahead, man.
We needed the
Right. I'm just saying, man. You're welcome. I'm just saying, man. Go ahead, Ab. Go ahead.
I pick fun, but I want no smoke. Shout out to Jersey.
And
but
Trenton won 15-1.
Oh, okay. They was playing ones and twos. That's what I'm talking about.
15-1, baby. Landslide victory.
I hear that. I hear
They
that.
had back-to-back championships that year. Just throwing that out there, man. Go ahead.
So let's get into this series. I wanted to come into this and put the heat on the role players and not just put it at the feet of Kyrie. But what I landed on is I have to blame Kyrie for it. And here's why. Role players are exactly that. Role players for a reason, right? They may exceed their role from time to time. You know, they may shoot over 50% from three in a series. PJ Washington. They may get hot from corner threes when they've never been a consistent corner three shooter. Derek Jones, right? You may get that for a series or for a couple of series, right? But when it comes down to, they don't get set up if your stars don't perform. And coming into this series, yes, I did call it the key to the series. Luka was going to get his, and although he's been dominant, he's had some struggles as well, and you know, may or may not be an injury that's impacting him with this thoracic contusion. But I mean, he's still giving you your 30, he's still giving you your triple doubles. Kyrie Irving can't give you 16 points and 12 points in the finals game the way this team is constituted. Because if they have Kyrie figured out without having to send all types of extra help at him to bottle him up, that takes away any of the space that your role players have, that your PJ Washingtons have, that your Derek Joneses have, that your Tim Hardaway Juniors have. That gives them the ability to continue to bottle up your lob action on the inside, because they're not locking Kyrie up with a bunch of doubles and a bunch of traps. They're just switching who they have on from time to time. Jaylen Brown is inviting the matchup. Derek White's inviting the matchup. Drew Holiday, when he gets his turn, they're all taking turns neutralizing this man. And if that continues, this might be the last episode in which we're talking about live basketball, fellas. Because Dallas might not last too many more games if this is the Kyrie Irving that they're going to get. But so far, no good.
Got you. Lou.
Sir.
As one who has called the 2-0 deficit or advantage, depending on your perspective on it, you called it, said they would be going back to Dallas with the Celtics up 2-0. What have you seen from the Celtics side that gives you hope that they'll continue to march forward with this aggressive lead that they have right now?
Well, let's talk about a couple of things just to kind of continue off what Evan was saying. Yes, the Celtics, they've maintained our defensive identity, but what they've been able to do is we got to give it up to Coach Mazzulla, right? What he's been able to scheme up. You see what they did in game one. For somebody who averages 10 assists a game and Luka Doncic only having one. And then, you know, being able to get off on his in game two. But, you know, that's by the virtue of, you know, some of the other role players being able to be able to get hot. And then what they've been able to do with Kyrie in terms of, instead of him being able to beat you with scoring, they're forcing him to be a passer. So to be able to make that switch and say, Luka, you know what? We're not going to make you beat. You're fine. Go ahead, score. We're going to let you go ahead and do your thing. But now we're going to take away what we know is your bread and butter, and that's your playmaking ability. We're going to sit there and we're going to make sure that, yeah, we let you rock, but we're going to cut off all the options that you normally would be able to get out to when coming in and penetrating and being able to kick out. And you know what, Kyrie? We know you want to get to the cup. We know that you're a wizard with the ball, but what we're going to do is we're going to force you to pass. We're going to force you in a situation where we're going to disrupt Dallas's normal scheme and how they play and how they're successful. So that's key number one. Celtics be able to maintain their defensive identity. I know there's been a lot of flack on Jason Tatum for not showing out on an offensive perspective, but not realizing how he's been able to affect the game from now from his assisting perspective and not necessarily having to score, but being able to facilitate. So if they're able to continue to do so, where, hey, good guys, you guys want to put a double, triple team me, that's fine. But guess what? I have another guy. I have a Batman on my team, well, who everybody thinks is the best player on the Celtics currently, trying to stir the pot. And also another great thing that, is an unfortunate piece of it that hopefully can get, he doesn't have to be out soon. But one of the biggest things in not necessarily knowing how to particularly scheme for KP, the unicorn, and seeing what he's been able to go and do right now.
So 100%.
So,
I agree in the identity, the defensive identity of the Celtics. Also, what makes the, I guess to me, what's the difference in this series versus the last series in Minnesota, which was a elite defensive team, everybody said as well too, is not an I told you so, but what I mentioned to you guys episodes ago. Celtics have been there before. They have a maturity about them that the Minnesota Timberwolves don't have.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Their players are not young like OKC, they're still new to this like OKC. And they don't have the discipline on the defensive end that the Celtics have shown to have proven,
and also
that they're going to
their leadership. And it's too young of a leader as opposed to having a guy that Jason, Jalen, and so on. And yeah, Cat has been there before. But Cat has deferred to Ant.
Yeah. But Cat doesn't count. So, but yeah.
Well, I think to that point.
Somebody mentioned Cat.
Right.
It just doesn't
running.
I thought Haas was going to cancel the show. I thought he was like, and we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
What we're seeing, and Minnesota has to be watching this series.
Sick.
Why didn't we think of doing any of this?
Because they have Rudy Gobert.
Well, I'm gonna get to that. In a sec. But what the Celtics have that Minnesota, I'll say, didn't have is they have 4 players. Honestly, they have 5 players at a time in their lineup that can hold their own for the amount of time that they have to spend on Luka and to an extent on Kyrie. Here's what I mean by that. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White. If any 4 of them get switched on to either one of them, it's not a cook fest, right? You're gonna get stout defense from either one of them, and we don't have to oversell to get them off the switch. Even if Horford gets switched on them for a second, Horford brings going on 20 years of disciplined defense about identity to at least move his feet and keep you from getting cooked until the help comes. And KP,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I sent it to the group, and others may have said it, but we've gone about ridiculing Rudy Gobert now for weeks, and honestly for the whole year. And Pod Mamba has definitely voiced his frustrations with what we call, who we're choosing for our defensive MVP. What I saw in Game 1, the versatility of a 7'3" player in Kristaps Porzingis versus in what I see from a 7'3" player in Rudy Gobert, as it relates to the ability to both guard the player in front of you and defend the lob without over-sacrificing either one, getting back in transition to block a transition layup attempt.
To get the other bigs in Dallas in foul trouble by your offensive production on the other side of the ball.
I'm not even talking the offense. Like, the offense is on top of that, right? Like, it's like, okay, I'm with you now, Pop Mom, but I apologize for defending this man as long as I did. Like, when you see that level of defense from a similarly built player, you got to look at it and say, how do we call this MVP caliber defense? This is a gimmick. We've been tricked. I've been tricked. Bamboozled.
You're seeing the light.
Hoodwink. Led astray. I've seen
Led
the light.
astray. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. So,
No, 100%. But I also want to expound on two things. First, we'll start off with the there's not a major deficit when you switch Celtic players on, and that's on both sides of the ball. Now, of
Yep.
course, when you go from Tatum to Brown to anybody else, there's going to be a deficit from Tatum to Brown. But outside of that, everybody else is solid on both sides of the ball that they don't really, Dallas doesn't really have a chance to get a break. They can't catch a break. You have to execute flawlessly against the Celtics team. Like you said, whether it's Drew Holiday, whether it's Derek White, they're still going to make you honest on the offensive end as well, too.
Perfect.
So-
Because Hans, we got to big you up because again, you said this to a T, specifically to the number. You can't be down 20.
No.
First game, down 20 at the half. You think you're going
Can't
to come
do it.
back against a well-disciplined Celtics team, down 20 at the half? They made a run where it almost seemed like, okay, this 20
Yeah, they
point
got
lead
it to
will
8.
evaporate.
They got it to 8.
But you got it to 8 going into the 4th. How it's again, and this is while you have the firepower, the star power of the Celtics sitting down catching a breather. And then when they get back on the floor, what are you going to do? Right back to
Right.
it. While you guys have been trying to put in all the effort just to get back into the game. And they're about to hit
Gotcha.
cruise control.
and this is
So
why
the-
it's so disappointing with what we're getting from Kyrie so far, because this team is already outgunned when you talk about the Celtics' collective firepower versus the Mavericks. When your second guy isn't, I hate to say not bringing it, but I mean, that's what we're seeing.
No, he's
right
not.
now.
If
Yeah,
you
he's
if
not
you look
bringing
at it, before we move on to the next segment, but that was going to be my last point. The non-Luka minutes on the floor in the last series, that's where you saw Kyrie come into the own and take the reins of the team, right? And continue to runs and continue to walk down Minnesota. You're not seeing that in this game. When Luka's not on the court, they get worse. And Kyrie is looking befuddled. He's throwing passes in the air, and they're not landing as crisp as they once were before because he doesn't have his player at such a deficit as he had in the previous season. What they need to do is figure out how to get him going, like F says, which opens up the floor for your role players. And to the Celtics' credit, they've stuck to the game plan and they have
Bro.
perfected it to a T. I can't knock them for that.
Force Kyrie to pass.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like if it ain't broke, baby, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't fix it. And then my last thing is difference between Tatum and Kyrie. Tatum's struggle are offensive numbers wise, but he's still making a positive impact in the game because he has timely rebounds. He has assists going. Kyrie's struggles are he's not impacting the game and he's not giving you the volume that's needed as well too. So to me, there's a difference. Like in my opinion, Tatum isn't struggling. Tatum is basically understanding that, hey, Brown is getting off in this series. This is his series. He's getting off. I'm gonna let this guy rock. Get off.
And
But-
I'm gonna mess around and almost get a tripped up. Yo, I'm
yeah,
doing
like,
what I
and
need
I'm gonna
to
get mine. I'm gonna get mine in the flow of the game. I'm not gonna force it.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And
do
this is
that.
the maturity the biggest piece of the maturity that we're seeing with this duo. And saying without Tatum feeling the pressure of, I have to show I'm the guy. I'm the number one guy on the team. So
I'm
100%.
told y'all.
I'm gonna say something and segue to where you want to. I don't want to belabor on in the segment too long. Call it the next segment if you want to. I think Tatum is struggling. I think that they're forcing him off of his spots. He's still not comfortable in that mid range where he could eat for days if he wanted to. I think they have game planned for Tatum well. What you're seeing is, I'll put it like this. We talked about, top 5 players and we said Tatum's not in the top 5, right? And we're seeing his limitations, although we're also seeing him adjust to them in real time. But what I will say is they've got a top 5 executive in Brad Stevens. And here's what I mean by that. The signing of Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday have created a lineup where Tatum can struggle, where Brown, whether he struggles or not, they have a collective floor now that lifts them up in ways that let them down previously in previous clutch moments. Without those two, this is a completely different series. And the struggles of Tatum right now are magnetized, okay? And he's being crucified right now. I'm cool with him about getting the triple-double. I'm cool with it, right? Great passes, way to not force it. He doesn't have to force it because of the collective basketball IQ that's around him. And that's what made this roster so dangerous to begin with to start the season. And that's the difference in this series. Kyrie and Luka don't have that around them. Tatum and Brown do.
Significant drop-off after the 2 stars on that team, as opposed to the Celtics. Well put,
100%.
brother.
So with that being said, is this series over? Is there
Game 5,
any
baby.
hope? Is there any hope for Dallas? Is this a preemptive sweep? Where do you guys see this series going? I'll start off with you, Lou. What is the writing on the wall for Dallas?
I think Dallas, especially if KP if Porzingis isn't playing, Dallas has an opportunity because you take a piece off of the board that, even though I don't think it makes a drastic drop off for the Celtics, but there's a like we discussed, there's another aspect or there's another layer of the game that KP is able to bring both offensively and defensively. And I just don't think that anybody on Dallas and the other bigs can necessarily handle. Horford is also a great plug-in, but being able to have both of them available gives you the opportunity to mix up those matchups. But so I think, like I said before, I think Dallas gets one, but this year we've seen that the Celtics beat them without it. And one of the things that they've done is and like we're seeing in this series, be able to outshoot them from 3, which has remained consistent, and they were able to do so with and without Porzingis on the floor this season. So I anticipate the same. Dallas will get one, but Celtics will adjust, and then they'll close it out at home.
True to your proclivity. True to your proclivity. What does Dallas need to do, man? What adjustments do they need to make? What does Jason Kidd have to draw up? What more mind games does he have to put in the media?
Jason has to suit up.
Does he have to say Drew's the best player on the Celtics now?
I mean, that's probably coming next. When you're talking about an NBA champion, an Olympic gold medalist, he's clearly and quick point of clarity, I said that they signed him. They traded for him, Drew Holiday, even better move by Brad Stevens, getting rid of Robert Williams and turning him in part into Drew Holiday. He gets even more points for
who did Brad learn from?
Hey, listen, Trader Dan, right? So you're absolutely right. As far as what Dallas has to do, one part, well, besides the obvious of unlocking Kyrie, keeping the pressure on Boston from the standpoint of, with all that I said great about Boston, we have seen stretches in each of these games where in the first game where the 29-point lead gets cut down to 8, in the second game, still close there in the final minutes before great defensive play and some other plays that put it away. Boston still has that tendency to get tight, play that 4-out, that 5-out basketball, reliable on contested threes when they get out of their rhythm. And so for Dallas to flip this series, they're going to first, they got to unlock Kyrie. They've got to get more ball movement inside out from both Kyrie and Luka, putting pressure on the interior defense of Boston. Even if the lobs aren't there, turning it into either lower to mid-range opportunities for 2 of the best at that in the game, and Luka and Kyrie, sucking the defense in some to open up some of those open threes at home to where they may fall better than what they did on the road. I think that's what's going to be for key for Dallas here in games 3 and 4. And honestly, all right, your game plan for Tatum has been effective at the behest of letting everybody else have strong collective games. So from that standpoint, it may not hurt them to dial it back a bit. Let you talk about mind games. Let Tatum cook a little bit, so he can take get some of those shots going, so he can get back to taking some of them bad shots that he likes to take.
That's a dangerous game, though. That's a dangerous game because Tatum is trying to give you 40. Then you'll be sitting there like,
I mean, I'm okay with him having 40 if Jalen has 10. It's the
right.
Same
that's what's hurting him. Everybody else with 15 to 25 is what's hurting.
That's what's hurting.
I think they still have the discipline.
Tatum's being dragged to the finish line right now.
He is. I agree.
He's like the kid who doesn't do anything for the class project and still gets that A+.
All right. Y'all are tripping. Y'all acting like he ain't been balling all season. You tripping.
We're not talking about all season, though. We're talking about the last 2 games.
He's getting outplayed by Drew Holiday.
Oh, here we go. This is the same thing that was said of Steph in many finals. Okay. Is it not?
Criticism too.
Is it not?
And Steph is a 4-time champion. And there's no.
And he finally got his finals MVP. But is that a stain on his career?
Yes.
Tatum scoring 16 a game.
Finals MVP.
Tatum scoring 16 a game and winning a championship will be much less of a criticism than him scoring 40 a game the rest of this series and the Dallas Mavericks come back and lose. So again, to the front office's credit, they knew what they needed to bring around their superstars, right, to overcome the shortcomings of the past few years.
No,
and I applaud them for it.
They learned from their mistakes. They already knew when it comes to this, one of them's going to tighten it up. Once one of the 2 stars is gonna have cold feet. This year it just happens to be Tatum. It's been Brown before. History has shown one of them will lock up. That's just what it is, and they've made assurance for that. And to F's credit, shout out to the front office for doing so. 100% shout out to them for doing so. What I am curious to see, though, is like F said, is Dallas going to do a tinkering to maybe, will that unlock Tatum? Will that, lock Brown down? I'm curious to see what adjustments will be made. And also, too, I think this is an awakening for Luka to realize that he may need to get a post game in his bag. Reason being, points in the paint when you're playing half court offense, which is what happens in the NBA finals, right? Because that's the goal. Possession slow down, the game slows down. Half court offense matters a lot more than it does in the regular season. We know you're a monster from the perimeter. Like we've discussed, he has that deceivingly quick first step, but it looks super slow, but he gets people on his back all the time. He gets guards on his back all the time, and he's strong enough to keep you back there, and you're at his mercy. I think he needs to work on some low post game, get with somebody in the gym. I'm not going to say Hakeem because I know how Ev will look about that.
Here we go.
But he needs to get, because if you think about it, right, that will allow him to garner more attention in the paint and give him more passing angles, a la a Jokic, to distribute the ball even more. So I think that's a glaring hole that the Celtics have shown, right? You don't see him throw it on the block to Luka.
No,
and let him work. That's not something that happens, and that's another opportunity that I think Luka has to develop his game there. So I've kind of seen that and thought that, you know what, that's a glaring hole in his game. Like he doesn't have a poster with his size. Like get you.
You just want to drive and kick, or drive floater, drive lob.
Here's the problem with that, and I give Luka more credit for a back to the basket game than you give him. He's got that back down fadeaway shot.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but
the challenge is Maxi Kleber is playing hurt. He's I think his elbow or his shoulder. He's been hesitant to even shoot it since he's come back from injury. So there's clearly something more still going on there, and he was their 5-out option at center, right? So without him being a reliable threat in the rotation, it's falling firmly on Gafford and Lively to play those center minutes, and so that's going to continue clogging up the paint for them. You can't.
But here's what I'm saying, right? So take one out, play small. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna have to do that because at the end of the day, you can't be like Minnesota and keep putting these two bigs out there when the game plan is not working. But Luka doesn't have that post game, so that's well, he has it like you said. He'll give you that turnaround, but he's not that throw it in.
It's
real
not a
quick.
true post game for real.
Yeah,
it's not a true,
and he needs to develop it. Because I think it's another avenue. So if your drive and kick is not working, right, they're neutralizing you on that. They're shading you on the drive, right, on the angles. They're shading you on the. That's what the Celtics are doing. They're shading him on there, so he has to figure out another way.
Lanes. Yeah,
exactly. But if you're on the post, it's hard to shade. You nearly have to dang near double team, which opens up the lane for him. Take one of them out and put in somebody smaller. You get what I mean? And make it happen. They've been experimenting with Green. They've been put Hardaway out there. I know he's still kind of somewhat injured as well too, but he could be your corner pop, which he was for a while for them. So for me, there's still room to tinker, but at the end of the day, though, you still have to go back to you need your top two guys to perform offensively. Like it has to be Luka 30, Kyrie 25, 30. Like that has to be a standard, and then everybody else can eat off of that. That's just been the game plan.
Well, let's see how Dallas does with KP possibly not playing in game.
I think that helps them 100%. I think it helps them
without Kristaps playing like prime Hakeem Olajuwon out there,
dude, making threes from the logo.
Where does Kristaps come from?
I'll tell you exactly where it came from. No.
The New York Knicks, Kristaps.
Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me with it. But I'll tell you exactly where it tells you. It tells you how talented NBA players are. It tells you how if you sit out for a month and you come back rested, almost all of them can give you 15 minutes of Hall of Fame worthy basketball. All right, that's what that was right there.
If they had that bag, right? This is the bag that we knew KP had, and it's just good to see the flashes of it that we don't always see. But we're seeing him being. But it's just like unfortunately, he's a walking injury. He said something felt uncomfortable. He tweaked. How did we get back here? All we needed you was give you one more game of this, please. But hey,
that was the risk. Yeah, that was the risk inherent in signing him. But you sign up for if that's the finishing piece of what you've been building, right?
The reward outweigh the wish for real.
Times out of 10 because they've gotten what they wanted.
And he's the third option at best.
And then if he comes back for game 5, I'm cool. We split game 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. We can get you back for game 5.
I think the Celtics are thinking we might not even need him. We might be able just to beat these guys without Chris.
Again, they have done it,
but I think they can try it.
They for sure, but they're gonna have to. but at the end of the day, man, I mean, I'm sure that they want to be able to keep all pieces on the board available just to be able to get. Because look, at the end of the day, just like on the flip side of what Evan is saying, those guys on the other end, you can't let them get started. You can't let them start to get off because then it becomes a whole different game and it can turn into a whole different series.
But here's my take on that though. They can't afford it because of how great Drew has been playing throughout these playoffs and finals.
Yeah.
Drew has been coming up clutch on. We saw what he did in the Pacers, right? Defensively, had great defensive plays, just crushing the heart of Pacers fans. And offensively, he's been great so far in these finals. So I think they can afford it given how Drew has stepped up his play and given them what they needed in this playoff. So like Kristen, I think they feel like they could probably pull this off without Kristaps. Now, what I will say though is it makes it more uncomfortable offensively for Jason, who's struggling a little bit, right? And it gives them more load to carry, but it's still doable. It's still doable.
It's doable. Which is why I say may not be as far as to say can't afford. Point is you don't want to fall into old habits of saying, you know what, if we lose one, we can only. You want to go in and you up 2, you want to go for the sweep. You want to go all that you can to get
Let
the
me
sweep.
ask you this though: risking maybe injuring and losing him next season?
No,
you get
no.
this. Listen, you get this.
I'm not saying you
no,
have to have.
Yes.
I'm not saying you have to have
You say
KP on the
yes?
floor.
Okay.
Yes, you get this chip. You get this chip. Everything's worth it.
Everything's forgiven for sure. And KP said it himself. He said, "I'm gonna let it down on the court.
Yes.
I'm gonna let it down on the court." But the thing is, do I risk KP in Game 3 to lose him for Game 4 and 5? No. I mean,
Okay, so you're saying you'd rather risk him later in this series versus earlier on.
If we're up 3-1 to close out,
when you're confident you can beat them without him, yes, you do that, and because you've banked 2 games,
yes.
Let's be honest.
So they have enough
the
equity.
only reason.
Okay.
The only reason we're not all sitting here right now demonstrably saying that this series is over is because of the history that we've had with Tatum and Brown in fourth quarters. That's the only hesitation we have in calling this what this is. All right. Y'all are looking at me to say, is he going to say it out loud? Is he going to say it out loud? Like I saw everybody's eyes turn to me. I'll be the one to say, this series is over, okay?
I've been told you this. It's 5.
That's true. That's true.
Dallas in 7.
I picked Celtics. I picked Celtics in 7.
Dallas in 9. No, not that.
Unless we see.
Hold up. Pod Mama, didn't you say it was who in 5?
You said Dallas is
just checking.
I said
my math isn't good.
Yeah, Dallas in 5. I'm still on that. Dallas in 5.
He picked 5 for those illegitimate titles that the Lakers have. That's why that number 5 was in his head.
Just like Jaylen Brown will figure out those other 4 titles that he promised.
I thought you said he's going to figure out them other 4 braids.
That's the only reason why he went off in Game 1 is because she was in attendance.
Hey, yo, shout out to him. Did you guys see that one play where he started off on the left side and finished on the left side with the left hand? Shout out to him. He had that one play.
I was about to say,
I was like, whoa. I thought he was going to pull the Shaq and look at his left hand. But nah, he acted like this was normal. Shout out to him on that, man. Shout out to him. I'd love to see him progress and thrive, So shout out to Jaylen Brown on that part on it. So shout out to them. All right, y'all. Let's move on to this next topic that begrudgingly has intruded and made waves in our show.
Oh, you talking about the Thanos? I mean, Thanash's new podcast.
The podcast,
like how, like that's really what's next.
That's what we're doing. We're
shout out to Thanasis though. Excellent name for a podcast.
I want to know who came up with it though. Was it him?
No.
Or was it no? Wow, Lou.
We need perspective from a bench player.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Usually you ask coaches for that. That's where you get your bench perspective. Coaches.
But would you rather hear from Thanasis or somebody
I never
else?
want to hear from him. I'm
just saying.
I don't know. I mean, a character quirky enough to create the multitude of memes that we've seen of his.
I hope his intro is his real.
By how that mind works,
Why are we letting Lou get us off track like this? What are we really here to talk about?
It's like elimination time.
No bad.
It's time. So listen, man. It's time to have an honest discussion about the once proud franchise, the Los Angeles Lakers.
The once proud.
The mom and pop shop.
That's true. Yes. Go ahead, Hans.
So it's been reported that the end of the talks with Dan Hurley and the Lakers has resulted in him saying no thank you to the Lakers offer and re-signing with UConn, chasing another title. This comes as big news as it was expected that he was locked in and was going to be the Lakers' next head coach.
You got.
As we know, we have a.
Anyone want to go to a game next season? No. Bob Mama?
As we know, hey man, we have a proud Laker fan here who's plugged into the city, plugged into Laker Nation.
Let's toast to Dan Hurley. Toast to Dan Hurley.
Let's check in with you, sir. Do you have any insights onto this rejection? How are you feeling? How is Laker Nation feeling right now? Do you guys feel used? Do you guys feel like you were led on?
I want to hear your guys'. What's your guys' reaction to Dan Hurley staying in UConn?
Sensational.
My take was he did what everybody else did
in a non-biased hater way. Like, what's your
he leveraged it? He leveraged y'all.
Yeah.
When you hear on Friday that I want to say, was it Pat Riley or was it may have been Calipari that said it best. He was talking about recruiting, and another coach was talking about, we've got a guy locked up. Players coming to play for us. And he said he's going to go home and talk to his family and he's going to sign. And I think it was Calipari that said, if you let him get out of the building without signing, he's not signing with you. So that was my first thought when I heard the stories that Dan Hurley was going home to think about it over the weekend. If you want to be the Lakers coach,
you jump at it, bro.
You jump at the opportunity to be the Lakers coach. If the contract is in front of you, you sign it. You're done. There is no, I'm making a decision next week on if I want to be with the Lakers or not. So
it's not the Orlando Magic. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. So I don't want to say it was clearly a leverage play, but I definitely think it was a component to it. I think the reports I'm hearing was that the offer extension on the table for him, or he just signed one was 6 for $50. I think he may have just signed that extension. Now, Papa, I'm gonna check that out for me, please. But he definitely got a couple dollars out of Ray Allen's pockets in the deal. He got a couple dollars out of Kemba Walker's pockets. Shout out to Ricky Moore. His annual booster fee went up a little bit, right? Because they're you'll be hearing some news of his new deals, coming soon on what they've added to his contract, because that definitely was a play here. As far as the Lakers, the challenge from a basketball standpoint is, let's be honest, LeBron James is going to be 40 years old this year. He just played 71 games. It's the most he's played since 2016 in a regular season. Anthony Davis just played one more game. He set his career high for games played this season.
Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
Money talks.
You just got that from LeBron and AD, your top two players on your team, and you were a play-in 7th seed. The upper echelon of the Western Conference isn't changing anytime soon. Minnesota's going to be there. Denver's going to be there. Dallas is going to be there. OKC is going to be there. Memphis is going to be back. It's not getting any easier in the West. So if I'm in a situation where I just won back-to-back national championships, like, I'm going down in history here at UConn, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the most successful coach in college basketball right now, right? Yes, college basketball has its issues that it has at the moment, but whatever it is, I'm at the top of the heap. And when you win 2 national championships, you're staying at the top of the heap, right? Like your security is set. You want to come be the 10th coach for LeBron, right? You want to be named the last LeBron coach's last 3 years, or do you want to be on the post LeBron era of rebuilding the Lakers, right? If you make it that far. So outside of the allure of LA, right, that you hear, the reality of the situation is this is a complicated product to unpack going forward. Why leave this gravy train that you're at to come do that just because it's called the Lakers.
Yep. That's really it. And then
that was the plan, right? That they were trying to have Jeannie Buss and the front office were tired of doing this every 2 years, getting a new coach. So they wanted to find someone who can be there post LeBron and actually build something up as a coach, as opposed to always finding new ones every 2 years.
And you know when you're going to find that? Post LeBron.
I was about to say.
Well, this was supposed to be it, right? So like, I'm not really sure. I just find it interesting when it first came out that he was an option, because it came out of left field for me, or for pretty much for everyone. It came out of left field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was from JJ Redick too.
Yeah, it was always JJ Redick was the front runner of becoming the new head coach. So Dan Hurley's name coming out of left field just seemed very odd. I did like the idea of it just because of his success and what he brings in the X's and O's tangibles, because that's night and day of what we had with now assistant coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, Darvin Ham.
Hey, your boy LeBron wanted Darvin. Remember that. Let's not forget.
I'm just saying it's just a night and day type of coach to what we had. So like I was up for Dan Hurley becoming the head coach. Now I got to give credit to the Lakers because they kept that very close to the chest. They didn't leak it. It wasn't leaked until Woj actually opened up his fat mouth.
That's the funniest part of this story to me. That
Woj
was communicating your team's demise step by step.
So Woj
took joy in doing it too.
Woj does this very
Woj pulled out his BlackBerry. He does this
very often, where he diminishes the Lakers by any means necessary, because he doesn't really have any sources within the Lakers organization. Honestly, the reason why
clearly he did.
No,
that goes back to his relationship with the Hurley family.
Yes, I know.
His first book that he ever wrote was about the Hurley family, about his dad.
Yep.
So that's why he has that information, because of the Hurleys. So he did the Hurleys bidding, and this is what comes to Hans's point of leverage, right? I'm sure Dan Hurley. I think he's mentioned about wanting to become an NBA coach at some point. So being an option for one of the most storied franchises in NBA history is, you got to take that meeting, right? Whether you want to stay at UConn or not, you take that meeting, and then if they floor you, you take it. But there's a lot of moving parts with it, which came to effect. He has the resume. He's like what Evan said. He's probably the top coach in college basketball right now. And
you're forgetting one major fact that is going to round it. As a matter of fact, I'll let you continue. And then
what would you want to say?
No. Go ahead, because we'll bring it all home with that. Hans knows what I'm talking about.
So he takes the meeting with the Lakers. They give their spiel with what they're thinking, what they want him to do. They give him the contract of what they're thinking: 6 years, $70 million. I know there's reports of 8 years, $100 million. But if you do the annual salary per year, I mean, what's 11.7 to 12.5? Like, is the money? I don't think the money is really what the thing was. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's 1 million? Like, if it was,
what's $1 million here or there? You know,
but seriously,
let me hold 800,000 when you get a chance, my guy.
Hey, you asking for a lot? Let me hold.
I get your point. No, I get your point.
Think of it like this: if you want to do the same annual salary, the Lakers would have offered 6 years, $75 million, as opposed to 70. So with $5 million,
that's not the reason he's turning it down.
Yeah, if it was really the money, the Lakers would give him the extra $5 million, but it wasn't. Right? He goes back home. His wife loves being in the Northeast. His family is in the Northeast. They didn't want to make the move to out West. He has that cushy job in UConn. Why would he take that job?
It's with the Lakers' current state. Yes.
It's if he could get.
No, yes, that's a major part of it. You know what I mean? Because again, why take the job of Lakers' current state?
Okay, why
hope you can get past with LeBron potentially retiring, leaving. You may not even
something.
If UConn can give him just as much money and he can stay in the Northeast where his family wants to stay at, why not just stay? Why go out West?
I'm gonna give you a reason.
He offered sorry, I just want to finish this point.
No, absolutely. No, that's me.
He got offered the 11 million per year by Kentucky, and he turned that down. So it's not about the money; it's about where his family wants to be. Now he might want to come out west, but his wife didn't want to come out west. Happy wife, happy life, right? Right, Hans?
Hey,
You're not wrong, sir. You're not. If your wife ain't happy, you ain't happy. So, 100%.
So
throw
I
a couple
so
things at you.
so
I
I
love
don't I
you.
don't really have any like gripe with him turning us down because I never saw him as an option anyways. So it didn't really matter. And I can't say the Lakers were cheap because the money wasn't really the big deal. And it's not like they weren't paying him a lot, like $8 million. They're paying him 11.7 million per year. That would make him the sixth richest head coach in the NBA as a beginner head coach in the NBA. So this whole situation reminds me of the Coach K thing that happened 20 years ago when the Lakers offered him that massive contract and he turned it down and stayed at Duke. But I guess we'll see what happens with Hurley. I mean, he thinks he's going to get a 3P at UConn. I mean, it hasn't been done since John Wooden. So,
Way to bring it full circle, Christian. Bring it back to LA. Do something that we've done in LA before. I'm gonna throw a couple just quick tangents at you real quick. If it were Anthony Davis and Donovan Mitchell instead of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, I think he takes that job. 2, related, I don't think he would have been a good fit with LeBron. For some reason, I just get David Blatt vibes from him.
LeBron has
a good comparison. I like that.
But LeBron has personally went on Twitter and gave his support to Dan Hurley back during the college season.
LeBron also said
knew that Dan Hurley was going to be a great coach.
I was about to say he also knew Kobe was going to score 81. So
yeah. LeBron knew the first time he coached a coaching game that guy was special and destined for coaching greatness. He was telling his boys
you don't think the Lakers front office and Jeannie Buss told Dan Hurley, like, look, if LeBron's really an issue, he's only going to be here for another 2 years. The rest of your tenure here is what
you don't take that chance, bro. You don't take why rock the boat?
Yeah, but also think about it this way, Christian. You're in a job interview and your job tells you, hey, look, these 2 years might suck, but you just gotta get past these 2 years of treachery and misery, and then it'll be fine. But
we don't know if it will suck. We don't know if would buy
if we keep you.
You're right. Like if
they were going to sign Dan Hurley, I think they would tough it out. They wouldn't give someone 6 years.
I think that would be the only type of deal he would sign.
A long-term deal.
Yeah, that would be the only deal he would sign. But still, why give up? I came off back-to-back wins in UConn where I'm king. Great success. I'm in my hood. And I have to come to LA to this tumultuous situation off rip. And hope that I can make it through without drowning.
The only thing I can think of why someone would want that is because they want the challenge of succeeding in the NBA.
Nah, man, he's holding out to be the next coach. That's the talk.
Chill out, man. In Tibbs, we trust. All right. I do think the vague path forward for the Laker organization plays a role in that as well. Like, what is your path to being a top 4 team in the West in the next 3 to 5 years? And if you can't see that, do I want to sign up for a path where if I haven't figured out that path in 3 years, they could be looking for me to be out again? And now I have left that amazing situation in UConn to come to this. I think that played a role in it.
Maybe. My last thoughts here is, and this is not really about Dan Hurley. It's just about what the media have been doing since he's turned it down. They've for some reason, the media wants to go back to like the 2016 days when LaMarcus Aldridge turned down the Lakers, and they started calling the Lakers a clown show organization. Why is like Zach Lowe going on Get Up and saying that no one wants the Lakers job? All right, so we're just gonna go into a fucking season without a head coach. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? That no one wants that Laker job. We just won a championship 4 years ago.
Here's why. Here's why no one wants the job. Because the pressure that comes with a LeBron, it's a win now situation when it's not, you don't have a peak LeBron. That's the problem. So he's still the face of the NBA. He's the face of the franchise right now, even though they're supposed to be giving the keys to Anthony Davis or whatever. Anthony Davis will get the keys when LeBron's gone. But just like it's always been with LeBron, the pressure is you have arguably the greatest player in NBA history who's on everybody's Mount Rushmore in some way, shape, or form. The pressure is to win now, even though he's not at his peak. That's why.
But it's hyperbole. It's hyperbole.
It's not.
It's not hyperbole.
It's literally not.
No one
it's
wants
not.
a job. Someone's gonna want the job. Like, let's.
No. Yes. Theoretically, in hyperbole, no one wants the job is definitely hyperbole. But yes. I think in between the lines is no coach who's looking to have a successful future off the rip wants that job. I think that's just what it is. Because at the end of the day, the Lakers, like Ev says, the future is muddy. There's not a clear cut, hey, get rid of this player, insert this player, boom, you're going to be top 5 team in the NBA. The Lakers, unfortunately, do not have that right now. It's still looking a little shaky. It's looking a little fuzzy, man.
So it's LeBron's fault. Fuzzy. It's LeBron's fault. That's what you're saying.
Monty Williams wants the job.
It's looking a little fuzzy, man. You know, they need to clear up their vision. Speaking of that, you know, Thomas Edison, right, had a lot of his inventions engineered in Jersey, which is home of the biggest light bulb, which was made to dedicate him after his passing. I'm just saying, man.
All right.
Thank you. Like, I'm just saying, you welcome America. That's all I'm saying. You welcome America. Also, last but not least, we all like great food. You know that Jersey is the diner capital of the world. It has the most diners.
What does that got to do with anything? Wrap it up.
Anybody else?
Okay,
so if you want
hear
great food, if you want some great burgers, some great milkshakes, some great old American good diner food, head on to Jersey, baby.
To Jersey.
Hey, look.
Head on to
Jersey,
baby.
Relax, because you guys had a Jersey guy as your coach candidate. Okay,
hey,
relax. Shout to Dan Hurley from Jersey.
America. You're welcome, America. Guys, thank you as always for joining us. We appreciate it. If you want more content, slide on over to our YouTube channel to get some more additional content on our OT. As always, thank you. Jersey, stand up, baby.
What's up, guys? Thank you for listening to the 3on3 podcast. Please be sure to give the episode a thumbs up if you loved it. Hit that subscribe button, and last but not least, hit that bell so that way you're notified every time we drop a new episode. Hit us up on our social media, guys. You can find us at the 3on3 podcast on IG and Twitter. If you want to give us any ideas or suggestions, shoot us an email at the 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time.